Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com, coming back to you with another live show. Today, I'm here with my friend Samuel, who is the YouTube and podcast host over at Bqool. And I am particularly excited for today's live show because Samuel and the team over at Bqool has made me quite a bit of money over the last 10 days. Fun fact, over the last 10 days, I started using the Bqool Repricer, and literally I just wrote down the numbers. Bqool has made me an extra $6,123.50. I've owned the buy box with them 28% of the time, and I've had 166 sales. Literally, my sales right now, I've got my app. I don't know if that zooms in or whatnot. It looks pretty clear. My sales are up over 53%. It was 63% last night, but my sales must have dropped a little bit. Or no, it's not the end of the day, but I just want to say thank you. And I wanted to bring Samuel and Bqool on to be able to give a live demo to talk about Bqool. So how are you doing, man? What's going on, Samuel?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, Steve. Thanks for having us on the show. I'm super excited to be here. I want to be able to give some actionable advice for all of the sellers out there. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. And I've got to be 100% honest with you. It was really difficult for me to start implementing a repricer again because I had used a repricer in the past and I didn't have the greatest results. And I was actually really intimidated to get started with a repricer. And you want to know what? I talked to a couple of my friends. They kept shouting you guys out and I did it. And I actually ended up paying somebody $100 to help me set up because I thought it was going to be so complicated. And within 5 minutes, big shout out to my buddy Seth, who uses Bqool as well. It was literally all set up. So for anyone who's scared, who's worried, oh, it's going to be too complicated, I don't know if it's going to work for me. Literally, my sales are up over 57% right now. It says on my screen. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about Bqool and what makes them unique and trustworthy. And maybe you could share a little bit about the story of Bqool and kind of how it got started.
Sure, absolutely. That's incredible. Yeah, and big shout out to your friend Seth. I think he's check flips. Is that like
that's his handle? Checkmate Flips. Yep.
Yeah, Checkmate Flips. Yeah, we remember that. And thanks for recommending us. And just to let people know who Bqool is, like we've been in the business for 10 years, and we started in 2011. So our founder, he is also an Amazon seller. At that time, he was repricing, and he had all these listings, and he had them online, and he would be repricing deep into the middle of the night. And a lot of times, the blood would be in his eyes while he's looking at the, repricing, just trying to get into that buy box. And so he decided this is not the best way to do things. It's not good for my health. So he invented the Repricing Central, which is a repricing software. So we've been able to help over 100,000 sellers in the last few years to get the buy box, to get better sales. And also, we're in 50 plus countries. We're in the Marketplace Development Council, which means that it's an invite-only platform where Amazon invites their top software vendors. And that's where we're able to get the newest updates. And there's some new updates coming up that we might not go into the details, but we've been in business for a while, and we're super excited.
Awesome. I'm definitely excited as well. And, I started my reselling business, probably about 9 years ago. And, coming from eBay and Craigslist over to Amazon FBA was a completely different game. And I'll tell you right now, I didn't always have a repricer. I actually had my virtual assistants doing all the repricing for me manually after I had the bad experience with the repricer. And right now, I would say probably my biggest challenge in my business is managing my cash flow. So having a repricer has definitely been really helpful.
Yeah, having a repricer can help you liquidate some of those products that aren't making money for you. And it gives you back that money that you invest, because at the end of the day, you want to have a lot of different turnovers. So, we can go into a little bit about why you need a repricer. And, let me just share my screen here so that we can show everybody who you might be new. This might be not new to you, but, I'm just going to share my screen here and show people, like, just on Amazon, like, why do you need a repricer here? And so I'm on Amazon.com, and, I found, I used to have a pirate ship, And then I used to have all these Lego I had. I wish I've kept it because now it's worth a lot of money if it's in good condition. And here it is. We have a product, and this is a Lego. This is a pirate ship. And then you could see that there's actually a buy box here. And then you can see this is actually owned by Amazon right now. So when you scroll down, you're going to see all of these different offers. There's over 27 offers, starting at $99 all the way to $129 and even higher price than that. And then so all of these guys are selling the same product. So I'm a eBay seller for a long time as well. So on eBay, it's different because you have all those listings. But on Amazon, you just have one ASIN and everyone's selling the same product. You sell the pictures, unless you're doing private label, which is a different topic. But today's topic is about arbitrage, online retail arbitrage. And it's a lot easier to enter that as well because you need a lot less capital to start. And so you can see that 80 to 85% of the sales is going to be coming from whoever owns that buy box. And then if you're on the mobile app, it's even more obvious. It's right there, right into it. It's a one click. It's patented by Amazon, and then so it's really important to get into that buy box. And so there's many different factors that go into like getting the buy box. So typically, what we recommend people is that if you have more than maybe 50 to 100 listings, then that's a good time to start getting into a repricer, because you're spending more time repricing when you could actually be using that time to do sourcing, getting better deals if you're doing wholesale, finding better deals on eBay, or using other sourcing software as well. And if you're not using a repricer, somebody else is. So your competitors are using it. So you want to increase your buy box win percentage in order to increase your sales and your turnover, so you actually make more money. And that's the reason why we recommend people to use a repricer.
Yeah. And I didn't realize for the longest time how important it is, because, all because you're the lowest price doesn't mean you're going to get that buy box. You've got to be competing at all times. And what I like about the repricer is literally it's always working. Even when you're sleeping, it's working, it's moving around, it's doing everything it can to get that buy box. And again, like you said, it's just a button that says buy it now. And the average person isn't going to Amazon and looking through all the listings. They're clicking buy it now. And if you don't have that buy box, you're going to be missing out on a lot of sales.
Yeah, that's right. You spent the time sourcing the product. You do want to get your money back, and you do want to flip the product, because that's what you're in the business for. So there's different types of repricer. So I want to just show everybody, how do you actually reprice something? Like, how does it work? And, what type of repricers are there and what type of rules are there? So I want to just walk through real quick. Is that okay with you, Steve?
Oh, absolutely. For sure. And if anybody wants to know before we get started, we set up a special 30-day trial down below in the description. So you can actually click that, check it out, play around with it for 30 days. So for anybody who can't make it till the end, this replay is going to be available, so you'll be able to watch it. But I would highly recommend watching it fully through, then get yourself a 30-day subscription, go through. It's a free trial, and play around with it, because it's actually really easy to set up, and you'll start making sales before you even have to pay $1. But for me, it's what I only got the 14-day trial because I didn't know there was, I didn't have this special deal. And by the time it hit day 14, I was already putting in my credit card, because it's like, it's making me money.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so if you are part of the Riken Profit community, you get an additional 16 days. So this is literally worth $100. Yeah. So, you got to sign up, and you don't even need your credit card. Yeah. So there's no credit card that's needed. You could just start your free trial right away, and you can see some of the results that Steve is saying. So let me just walk you through a little bit to show you how do you reprice? How do you set up a rule? Some of the common questions. And then I'll do a live demo here. And then for our audience here, if you're interested in how to reprice, put in your ASIN, type your ASIN into the chat, type it in the chat, and then we can actually do a review of the ASIN and give you some recommendations, how you should set your price, how you should set your mins and your max, and also what rule you should use in this type of different situations. Stay till the end as well. We're going to go through some other real life scenarios that you face as a seller, all the challenges that you see. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and then we're going to take a quick look here. So I'm in Repricer here. And then where we're going to go here, I'm going to first show you, the different repricing rules. So what you can do after you already have the listing in here is you could add different rules. And I'm going to show you how that actually works. So there's 3 different types of repricer. There's what we call rule-based, what we call AI-powered, which is Steve is using, and also conditional repricing. So there's 3 different types, and I'm going to just walk you step by step. How do you do, repricing, and which rule should you choose depending on the type of product? And also, this is from 7-figure, 8-figure sellers, best practices that they use that you could apply right away to your business. So when you go in here and we click on rule based, a lot of our users, they like to use matched buy box because they don't want to have the lowest price. So one of the myths that is like you must have the lowest price in order to win the buy box. Yes, price is definitely a very important factor, but it's part of the whole equation, and also what type of rule you're using. That's important. So that's the first myth. I want you to write that down. That's the first myth that you can overcome. And so we're going to go to match buy box here, and I'm just going to use this. We'll call this Riken Profit Match buy box. So when I pick, there's 5 different default rules here, and they work differently depending on how aggressive you want. So for the algorithmic rule base, you can set very specific parameters. And who is this for? This is, it starts at $25, so it's a very affordable entry level. And then also, if you're a very advanced seller and you know that ASIN very, very well, you know exactly how much you need to adjust. You know exactly how much you need to lower your price or increase your price in order to win the buy box. You know how to price against Amazon. You know how to compete if you're FBA versus FBM. So, that's who this is for. And I'm going to just walk you through here. So after selecting match buy box, you can go to next. And then in the next scene here, you can see all these different options. So when you're using rule base, the 2 additional things you have to set is the competitors, like who you're competing against, and also what happens when you get the buy box. So those are the 2 additional things you can set. And then I'm going to just quickly walk you through here. So in the top section here, you can see who you want to compete against. If you're an FBA seller, you probably don't need to compete against FBM. You're probably competing against other FBA sellers here. And then there's Amazon, there's FBA, there's also non-featured FBA, non-featured FBM. So for non-featured, these people, they aren't eligible to own the buy box. So you don't have to worry about them. So if you're a non-featured seller, then you're probably going to have to price lower in order to get the buy box. And for you to become to move from non-featured to a FBA, a normal seller, then you're going to have to sell typically maybe 1 or 2 months, several of those products before you're eligible for the buy box. So, like one of the questions we get is like, how come I'm not eligible to win the buy box? So that is one, solution for you. Moving down here, there's, how do you compete against SFPs, seller fulfilled prime? So these guys, they're similar to FBA as well. They can quickly ship out the products. And then here you can also decide if you want to exclude certain sellers. So we have this in every single plan starting at $25. You can exclude certain sellers. Now, why would you use this? So if, let's say you're in a mastermind group, in a master buy group, you guys buy a whole bunch of products together in order to get a certain price, then you don't want to compete against certain people. For example, if it maybe I am in Steve's Facebook group, and then we got together, we got a lead list that Steve provided, and he has I know you have a book that you provide these leads, every single day, 365 days a year. Is that right, Steve?
Yes, that's for eBay sellers, but it's the same point.
Yeah, it would be so if it's for Amazon sellers, and then you can actually exclude certain sellers. Another type of sellers you might exclude is maybe they're a really large seller. So they're fine with having very low profits, and maybe you just don't want to compete with them. So you could also exclude them as well. And then moving down here, you can select who you want to compete against. And typically we would exclude sellers who have a rating of lower than 80%. And we'll also exclude sellers that they don't have any feedback because it doesn't really threaten us in most cases. And then we also exclude sellers with back-ordered products because it's much harder to win the buy box when your product is back-ordered because people have to wait for a while to get the shipment, to get it shipped to them. And then you can also use this for used goods as well. So if you're selling used books, if you're selling other type of used products here, you can actually compete on, depending on the condition that you want to compete, the same or different conditions here. And then moving on, you go to next. And then be free to ask me any questions while I'm demoing this. So I can answer your questions right away. I'm just going to turn this off because so I could go next. And then the next step is what happens when you're competing for the buy box. So there's two different sections. One section is when your competitors are between your min and your max prices. So they're within that, and you can decide how it behaves. The second part is when they're outside of your mins and outside of your maxes. In most cases, they might be below your min prices. So you could decide how you compete. And then there's also other functions here. And then also there's a price change safety net. So if you don't want to reprice down very quickly, you can actually reprice by different stages. You go down by maybe 15, 20% at one time to ensure you have a higher profits here. And then there's also a min price protection setting. So this means that you will not go lower than your min price. So there's some safeguards put in place. Now, the important part in here, is, how should you behave if you're competing against Amazon? For example, using that Lego ship earlier that I showed, Amazon was on that listing. Amazon is selling that product. They're fulfilling it. Then if I'm competing against Amazon, typically there's several different solutions. Typically, I might go maybe under 3%. You probably have to do at least 3% below Amazon. I'm talking about products from $25 to $100. So it really depending on the product, also the category. And of course, you can also check your Keep a chart to see how often Amazon goes on and see what the buy box price is. So those all come into factor, and also the demand and supply of that product. And then so if you're competing, I want you to write this down. If you are an FBA seller competing against Amazon, you're probably going to have to go down 3% if you're setting this manually. But there's a faster way, which I'm going to show you later on. And then if you're FBA versus FBM, then typically, you don't want to price below them because you should be able to make higher profits. So we do about 10 cents above the FBA FBM seller, and this is for products around $25 to $40. Okay, this is a price range I'm talking about. So it's different for every category. It may be a little bit different for you, but I'm giving you overall, and some of the best practice from 7-figure sellers that I talk to. And then you go to next. And this is when you do get the buy box, what happens? So when you do get the buy box, one of the settings, you can lower or raise my buy box price. Typically, what I see a lot of top sellers do when they're trying to price match is they do 0.00. And then what this does is if the competitor below you lower their price, then you're going to match their price. If the competitor above you raises their price, then you're going to raise your price to their level. So this is what I typically see people who use algorithmic rule-based. And so all what I showed you here, this is pretty typical of all the different repricers. It's nothing new for you, but we're going to show you something that's completely game-changing and something that Steve uses in just a bit here. And there's another function I just want to show you, and then this is called a scheduler. And this, for the scheduler, you can actually pause your repricing at certain hours. Now, why would you do this? Why would you do this? You want to pause your repricing and this works, but it's not for every type of product. Okay, this works maybe when there's about 10 to 15 offers on that listing. If there's more, somebody's guaranteed to take the price because they're definitely going to try to get some sales back for their money. So here I would set maybe between 1 and then maybe 3 a.m. and I would pause the repricing. I could select the period of time. I could select maybe like Pacific time zone, and then let's say I set the central time zone, and then I can match the price. I could use a specific price, and I could also go to my max price, and then I could set it for different days of the week, and then I go to next, and then set up my rule. So this is all pretty typical, pretty normal of what you see from the rule base. Steve, I want to ask you, when you set up your repricer, Did you have to do all of this? Did you have to set all the details? Like, what did you do? How did it work for you?
Yeah, so I didn't have to set up any of this because I have the what program do I have? What is it called again?
You had the AI repricer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the AI repricer. I use the AI sales booster. So for me, it took me like 2 minutes to set it up and to get started. So the old repricer that I used to use had this same functionality, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. It just was a lot of work and was like really confusing to me. So I guess I have two questions. Who is that form of repricing for? And then who is the form that I'm using with the AI for, if that makes any sense?
Yeah. For that rule base, typically a lot of people start at $25. They might, that might be suitable for them if they have limited amount of money to invest, and very soon they'll see the returns in their investment. Also, if you're a very advanced seller, we have some advanced sellers, 7 figures, that they really know. They've been doing this for a really long time. So they really know the different type of listings. It also is for somebody who has very similar type of listings. So let's say for the categories, let's say they're all selling shoes or they're all selling groceries, and it all follows similar type. And then also it's when there's not a lot of new competitors entering for that listing. But to be quite honest with you, most of the listings, if you're selling and you're making money, there's going to be new people coming in, right? That's the law
All
of
the
supply
time.
and demand, right? So to get the best results, we would recommend using the AI repricer. And I can just go over a little bit, about how the AI works, because we're pretty transparent here. We don't have anything to hide. We have our own in-house team of AI engineers. So we're not outsourcing this. We have this right here. And we've developed it over the years, over 10 years of experience. So maybe I could show you a little bit about how our AI actually work. How do a lot of times you see people, they throw out the word AI a lot. But then when you ask them to show it, it's like a black box. And a lot of the times it's actually rule-based algorithmic just presets. Yeah. So I'm also going to teach you how you can tell whether you have real AI or you don't have AI. Because there's a difference of the technology, and on average, the people who use AI against the people who don't, for our data, there's about 12 to 20% increase in the buy box when they switch over to AI using rule base from before, or even not using the repricer. The gains are even higher. Yeah. So let me just quickly share with you my screen here to just walk you through how exactly does the AI work, so people can see it.
And
Yeah.
this is what
So
I'm using as well. Just to be clear, I'm using the AI. The results I shared where in 10 days I made an extra $6,123. This is the AI. I'm actually not even using the general rule pricing that we had mentioned before, just to be clear.
yeah. So when you're looking at the AI repricer, you could see that there's 5 different options. And then it's based on how much sales and how much profit that you want to get. And then depending on the level of aggressiveness. So if you're, at AI sales maximizer, who is this for? This is if you're trying to liquidate your products. So it's going to move you closer down to your min price in order to get the buy box for you. And you don't have to do all those settings. There's only 4 different settings compared to 6 that you have to do before. Now, if you're on the AI profit maximizer, that means it's a product that you don't have a lot of quantity. And then what we see some sellers do, like they might do a test buy, and then they might get maybe about 50 products in. Then for the first 25 products, they'll put it on a very aggressive rule. And once they kind of get their money back, then they can put it on a more profit-driven rule where it's going to increase the price. So there's some differences between AI and rule-based. And let me just explain you the whole model so that people understand. So when going for the buy box, there's actually maybe 20 to maybe more than that different factors, different variables that goes into getting the buy box. But at Bqool, based on our experience or 10 years of experience, we think we've cracked the code. So we know how to get you the buy box. And we've done it for a lot of people. And so the most important factors out of these is the price, also your fulfillment method, and also the price, the fulfillment method, and also the price fulfillment the two important ones is the price and the fulfillment. But there's one more I don't remember right now. Put in the chat if you remember. But those are the three most important factors. And also the seller type as well. So whether you're FBA or FBM, and obviously if you're an FBA seller, you're going to have a leg up because you're using Amazon's warehouse, and they get a cut from that as well. And then so we have developed a centralized learning model for all the different for all the historic prices, also for their 10 years of experience, gathering all that data, billions of data points. And then so we have a centralized learning model, and then we have account base. And then for the account-based learning model, that's based on the specific ASIN. So when you add the ASIN, when you start using that listing, we start learning that listing. We start to learn how your competitors behave. It's like in the Matrix. Neo, he starts, he gets a pill, and then he starts to learn all the competitors, how they perform and how they function. And then we're either going to reprice you up or reprice you down or keep you around the same price. But we're going to go and find you that sweet spot for you to get the optimized price to win the buy box. And once you win the buy box, we start increasing the price for you. We start incrementally repricing back up. So there's several different benefits of using the AI. And first of all, you're going to increase your buy box percentage for sure, because you're going to reprice a lot more. You're going to reprice how much times more? Usually about 10 to 30 times more. Because for rule base, it depends if somebody has changed the prices, and then you get a report from Amazon, and then it triggers you to resend that back into Amazon. But for AI, it keeps on going back and forth, and then it reprices a lot more, and then this is why you can get a higher buy box, and also it incrementally reprices back up. So once it gets the buy box, earlier I showed you in rule base, you need to actually set how much do you raise the price, how much do you want to lower the price in order to continue to have the buy box. AI does it automatically for you, and it will adjust by different amounts. And then I can keep talking about the talk here, or I can show you the result, right? Because I can go into theory, high level stuff, but I want to go from space all the way down to ground zero, onto Earth, and I'll show you some real results that we have here.
Let's see it, man. I'm excited. I already know how it's working for me, but let's show everybody.
Okay, absolutely. So when this is from a seller, and he's quite experienced. He's a 7-figure seller. He did about $1 million last year, and this year he did $2 million. Yeah, and then this is a product that he sourced for $50. So he had set it. He set his min price at 160 here, and then so you can see that he set it at 160, and then his max price at 320 right here. And then there's 11 different competitors, and he's an FBA seller. So let me just run through, do a quick competitor analysis to let people know. And the competitor analysis, it's free for all the different license. So I can show you where that is in their software. You get it for free from the $25 all the way up. So you can look at all your competitors, which will help you know what price you should set products at. So he in this case, like, he is an FBA seller, and then there's a seller that is. Let me just move this slide. There's a seller that has better feedback than he does. So if you look at the seller, he actually has 99%, and then he has over 5,000 reviews. So he has a better profile than what our seller has. So what happens here, right? So theoretically, this guy should own the buy box because he has better feedback. But what happened here? We know that he got the buy box. He's not the lowest price. So there's actually 2 FBM sellers at lower prices here than he does. And then how does it work? And when he was on the listing, the red part is when he lowers the price in order to get into the buy box. And then you can see it's by different amounts. And then once he gets the buy box, he starts to incrementally reprice up. And then as a result, he's able to get that listing, get the buy box. And this is for a product that usually doesn't sell that well. So typically, we recommend people using bestseller rank. Maybe you want to be on the top 2% when you're trying to reprice and you're trying to do retail arbitrage or online. But in this case, this is about a 5% BSR product. So they don't have a lot of volume every month. There's only maybe 10, 11. You miss out. You don't sell the product, you miss out, and you're going to wait for months and months, and your product will just going to sit in your warehouse, and you continue to collect those storage fees. So as a result, after using our AI repricer and, in a shorter period of time, he increased his total buy box win percentage from 29.62 to 37.38%, which is about a 10% increase. And this is very typical of all the customers who switch from rule-based to AI that we've seen. Usually, I said earlier, is 12 to 20%. And then so, that was AI, and there's a lot of advantages. But, we don't want to stay where we are. Yeah, so we continue to upgrade. And, this is where the meat of the show today is here. Like, this is where the cream of the crop is. So we had rule-based. And then we have AI. And then very recently, we launched what we call conditional repricing. So conditional repricing, Steve, are you familiar with this topic? Like conditional repricing, like how that works?
To be 100% transparent, I'm not. I just dove in. I went with the AI sales booster, and I'm actually very interested because I don't know much about this, and I see inventory age condition, and I was just looking in my inventory. Right now I have around, I think close to 1,800. I haven't even gotten to reprice all my items yet, but I was looking through my FBA statistics, my inventory, and I have about 250 items that are over 90 to 180 days. It's in between there. And I like to sell my stuff before then. So I'm actually very interested to hear about this.
That's fantastic. So for the conditional repricing, this comes from a lot of sellers, some larger sellers. They want to be able to switch rule. Yeah, because there are some sellers out there. I'm sure I can mention their names. Can I mention their names on your channel? Like, okay, Jimmy Smith. Yeah, big shout out to him. And also Field of Profits. Like there's some shout out to these. And some people, they swear by rule base. Yeah, and there's also other coaches in this space that they swear by rule base. So they want to be able to change different rules, or they want to be able to switch between rule base and AI, right? Because your rule base, it works. But if the product doesn't sell at the end of the day, you got to move the product. Yeah. So they'll start out at match buy box and they'll switch to something else if it doesn't work. So that was a request that many, some of the large sellers that they have. And then also, as you know, that Amazon is getting more and more competitive. But don't worry, guys, because there's also inflation. Yeah. So there's more people buying on Amazon as well. So there's a 20-30%. So, as we know, when the ocean, when the river goes up, then all the boats will rise with it as well. So, if you're a new seller, if you're just coming in, don't worry about that. But back to this conditional repricing. So there's some reasons why we designed it. And the main benefit for customers, for sellers, is you're able to switch rules. So if a product is not selling, then you can put into a more aggressive rule. And then the other benefit is you can actually lower your min price. So typically the workflow for some large sellers is they would have a product for a certain amount of time, and then they start lowering their prices if it doesn't work out, maybe after 3 months. Yeah, depending on your business model. If you're selling used book, it might be a little bit different. You might be willing to take longer periods of time. But for some items, and let's say you're selling the cell phone case here. Okay, the cell phone case. And then this cell phone case, maybe I got it at Walmart for $299. I'm listing it on Amazon for maybe $13.99. Maybe that's a 35% ROI. But what's going to happen when September hits? Well, Apple's going to have a new launch, right? And they're going to have a new phone out. It might be 7-inch. It might be 8-inch. Who knows? They keep getting bigger, right? And then then I need to sell this product out by that time. Otherwise, I'm going to get pennies on the dollar. Yeah, because people won't be searching for this anymore. This is going to go super low price. So, there's market conditions in place. There's also some updates. Like Amazon has some updates, and they're not all good for you. Yeah, they're increasing their prices, And to be fair, I've mentioned this before. To be fair, Amazon, like their warehousing operations, loses money. So if you read their annual report, they lose about $10 billion with their FBA business, of the Amazon warehouse. But they gained $30 billion in their advertising business. Yeah, so you can see there's a lot more sponsored ads. There's a lot more ads. When you're searching for products, you're going to see a lot more ads coming up, right? And then, so that is the whole trend. And so they're making it more expensive for sellers like you to sell. So how are they making it more expensive? For example, before the long-term storage fees, they kicked in at 365 days. But now there's an additional surcharge at 271 days. Then there's additional surcharge, and then there's another long-term storage fees after that. And then they also updated their referral fees recently. So for different type of product, they have different referral fee that is coming up, and it's increasing. It's not decreasing, right? And why? Gas prices are increasing as well. So it does for their business operations. It makes sense for them to do that. Yeah. So facing all this situation, you want to have a better tool. You want to have a tool that you want to have a better weapon to fight back against this corporate. Yeah. So it's made for the little guy. So what's the difference here? And I'm just going to share my screen here to show you what is the difference between conditional repricing and also what I previously showed you. So again, to review the main benefits of conditional repricing, you can automatically switch different rules. That's the first benefit. The second benefit is you can lower your min prices automatically. So when we talk about the workflow of large sellers, they might sell the product, and if the listing doesn't go in the buy box after a certain amount of time, they might go back and review it. Steve, typically, like, how do you run your workflow? Yeah, just to help our audience understand, because you're a very reputable Amazon leader as well in this field.
So in terms of how I'm pricing it?
Yes.
So right now, what we do is we take a look at the Keepa chart to see what the range has been. Really, we're looking between, I would say, 30 to 90 days. Sometimes we go out a little bit more. And then we just set our minimum price based on the minimum we'd be willing to accept. And then we set our max price for what we're enthusiastically aiming for. And then we just set up AI Sales Booster, and it's done. I actually have a virtual assistant who does it all for me now.
What happens if the listing doesn't sell? Like, typically for your workflow, what do you do? Is there an amount of time typically, like, you keep the product for, or what happens?
Yeah. So right now we're really trying to sell stuff before 60 days, but once it gets to over 90 days, we start to, what we were previously doing was just going in and manually repricing. Of course, we're always checking the Keepa chart, but if it's been sitting for 90 days, outside of books, because like you said, books, a lot of times we'll sit on those for a little while. But in my main business where we're flipping DVDs, board games, video games, stuff like that, I mean, really, we're just manually repricing it. And, once we start to get close to, like, I would say 4 to 5 months, sometimes we're just selling it break even or even for a little bit of a loss. Because back to what I was saying when we first started the show, the biggest challenge for me right now is cash flow, because I'm investing a lot of my profits back into business to scale it. My goal is to 40,000 a month. I'm at 27 right now. So, I'm just listening, man, because I'm definitely, learning a lot in this area, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that myself. But right now it's all manual.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of large sellers like you, they have the same issue. Yeah, like they put it for a certain amount of time, and then if it doesn't sell, they need to go back and review the pricing, and then they might need to manually change it in order for it to move the product. And then if the product doesn't move at all, then they might, if it's a dead stock, then they might have to take other actions as well. So for the conditional repricing, just to let people know the difference between what they previously have and what we have now is in the current conditional repricing, you're able to set up different scenarios for advanced automation. So you can switch between the different rules. So earlier you had to manually change the rule, manually change the price. Now you can automatically switch these based on the market conditions. And then you will also get a higher buy box than before, because you can pick a condition where your listing is not winning the buy box, and then you can set what it does for you. It's also a lot more flexible, so it saves a lot more time. for the automation. So you can spend more time on other types of products. So there's five different defaults that we have. And then I'm just going to share with everybody, like, who is this for? So for the 3 default rules, the first one is the inventory age condition. And for the inventory age condition, this is suitable if you have some slow moving inventory or individual items or even perishable items. So for example, let's say, I have Oatly milk here. And then this is, a big shout out to all the vegans out there. But so if you like to drink this, you might buy it online, right? But then there's an expiration date on it. And then on Amazon, you probably have to sell within 6 months of the expiration date. And then there's also other products. Let's say I got this Victoria's Secret product for my wife, and I got a super good deal on it. Don't tell her. Yeah. And then this one it's a topical, and then it might go for maybe 1 year. And then after that, it might not work. Also for perfumes as well. We have a lot of perfume sellers. Yeah. Big shout out to the perfume sellers. There's great margins in that. Yeah. And then so there's products that are perishable, grocery items. So those would work well with the inventory age condition. And then you also have the sell-through rate condition. So we actually have a PDF. If you reach out to Steve after the show, maybe we'll be able to pass it to you. We have a PDF that tells you exactly how you can set your repricing. And then there's a sell-through rate condition. And for the sell-through rate condition, this is in your inventory planning in your Amazon Seller Central account. And then you can use this for a fast-moving product. This is also what we look at when we're doing private label a lot more. And then what is really nice update recently, like, you can see all the different marketplaces and you can see all their sell-through rate. So that's one of the fields that you could use for sell-through rate. Then there's also days of supply. And days of supply, this would be like larger volume products or replens, like replenishable, products that, you're going to keep on going out and get them over and over again. And then you're going to put a markup. You might do a 2-pack. You might do a bundling. And so, that's what those are for. And then we have the advanced conditions, which we're going to show you. And so what I want to talk next is to show some real life applications of conditional repricing. And also we're going to have a Q&A session. So just, ask any question. Again, put your ASIN into the chat so we can do a live review of the ASIN and give you some recommendations of how you should price this item. For the real life, and this is another shout out to Warner Fields. Big shout out to Fields and Profits. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that on your channel, Steve. Yeah.
Oh man, Warner is the man. We just shot a couple videos behind the scenes, so he'll be coming onto the channel as well. So keep shouting him out. He's awesome.
All right, that's fantastic. So this is not what I said. This is what Warner said, right? He's doing like a mill now, right? So I do OA and wholesale, and I have a lot more products. My rule is that anything sitting for more than 3 months, it's becoming a dead stock. So I need to break even or lose money to get some of the money back. So when we say break even, it means that our ROI is 0%. And then after including all the fees, the Amazon fees, the FBA fees, the referral fees, and then also the closing fee, then all including that, then it's 0. So I break even. So this is what he's referring to. So let's take a look of how we would do that. And then, so let me just show on my screen here. I'm going to go back into the software of what I should do. And then this liquidation strategy, this is something that should be in your arsenal because when you get to a certain amount, you want to be able to definitely have a liquidation strategy in place. And so what I'm doing now, I'm going to go to conditional repricing. Okay, this is in the software. This is under repricing rules. Add a new rule. I go to conditional repricing, the 3rd tab here. And then I go down to inventory age. And then I'm going to call this Riken profit inventory, for example. So I want to ask you, Steve, because you do a lot of DVDs, games. Do you do games as well, or for that whole genre?
Yeah, video games, board games, puzzles.
So what happens when there's a next generation of the game? Like, for example, I love playing the NBA 2K21. I love that game.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of games that I love playing as well. So what happens when the next generation comes out?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get rid of it, the price is going to go down because there's going to be a lot more demand coming for the new one. So you'd want to strategically get rid of that. I mean, especially if you had a bunch of them, you'd really want to get rid of them.
Right, exactly. If you got a good deal and you purchase like 10, 20 of them or something like that. Yeah. So what you can do here, like in the liquidation, if we follow, so for you, you do it around 61 and 90 days. And then that's what you mentioned to me. So
Yes.
let's say for a lot of sellers, you do it at 90 and 180 days. So for in my example, I'll use your case. Yeah. So this could be helpful, but the idea, the concept is still the same. So in here, there's a rule. You can click on the rule, and there's 3 different features you can pick. You can pick the rule, so you can actually switch different rules. If you're using rule-based, you could also use the rule-based rules right here. So you could actually switch to different rules. And then so maybe at the start, AI equalizer, like that is like if you want to get the equal amount of sales and profits, and this is what we typically recommend people to start out with, unless they're more aggressive and they really want to grow their sales to 40K like you, Steve. So typically for most people, they will use AI equalizer, and then they will decide if they want to be more aggressive or less aggressive depending on their sales. And so here, they can pick they can pick something that's more aggressive, like the sales booster, or maybe even this. If you use sales maximizer, then you're really liquidating the product. You're really putting it close to the min price. Yeah, for everybody like who's wondering, hey, how come it keeps moving me now to my min price? Because you're trying to get that buy box, and based on your profile, that's what you need to do to get the buy box. And so here, you can also change your ROI here. So for the rule plus min price, typically, how much ROI do you typically use when you first list your product in Amazon?
So surprisingly, my ROI a lot of times is close to 50% with my particular products, sometimes even more.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So in this case, maybe after 60 and 190 days, are you willing to lower your ROI, or
Yeah.
how does that work?
Absolutely. And I'm still working out some of these systems, but what I'm thinking is, let's just say that my average item is 50% ROI. Let's just say after 60 days, drop it down to 25, after 90 days, maybe drop it down to 10. After that, start getting, break even around month 4 or 5.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you could actually set this up, and then this is called the main condition. So this is what you could do, and you could actually change the different rules. We do have a default in the very bottom when none of the above conditions are met. You could change it to the AI equalizer, and then you're set up, done. Yeah, so that's super fast. And then you can apply it to all the listings you have. Yeah, and then you can do all that.
Let me interrupt you really quick, Samuel. So I'm curious because all of my listings right now are set to AI Sales Booster, which is a bit more aggressive in terms of the spectrum of your minimum and maximum price. When I set this conditional rule, does it override? Like it's almost working in play with my current AI Sales Booster. And when it hits 60 or 90 days, it overrides it in a sense?
In this specific case, then what you would do is you would set up a conditional repricing rule, and then for the default here, when none of the above conditions are met, you would select the AI Sales Booster, and then you could adjust the other ones. And then if you want to, so let's say in your example, I'm using a test account. So how do I apply it? Let's say in your case, you have like 2,000 listings, for example.
Yes.
So you would go in here, and then you would select, and this is available if you're on the $50 plan and above, or you could use the $100 free trial that Steve has, that 30-day free trial to try this out. And you can actually set your min and max price here, and you could just select all of the ones you have, and then you can just go to the inventory age condition. You press save, and it'll apply to all of those listings you've selected, up to 500 at one time. Yeah, you could also set your mins and max in a fast way like that if many of your products are a similar type. And then I just wanted to show everyone, I think this is important. You can also look at the competitor analysis. And then this would actually pull up that competitor analysis. And this is available for all of the different plans that we have as well. Yeah, so this is a real life scenario based on your specific situation. And I'm going to just share one more before we get to the questions. So we have enough time for all the great questions that people are asking. So the second scenario that I wanted to show you is a situation when you want to maximize your best-selling product. So in this situation, maybe you got like 20 of these. This is a Captain America. Yeah, Go America. Yeah, you have this Captain America Lego that you're trying to sell. And this is quite a collector item. It's quite nice. You'll probably, if you could get if I source this, if I got this for maybe $10 and I'm selling it for maybe $30, $40, and then, you know, like I'm almost selling out. What do I do? What should I do in that situation? And in this specific case, you can actually set it up where it increases your price.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly just show you that, how to do this. And then so you can see the other functions. And then we're going to go into the Q&A session here. Yeah, so let me just go into let me just go back into our actual software here so you can see this. So again, I'm going to add another condition. And this is the conditional repricing. And in this case, I'm going to use the FBA advanced condition. And then so I'm going to call this the maximize profit condition. And then I go to next. And then in here, I just want to show everybody all the available options. When you click on, this is the main condition. When I click on when, I can see that there's all these different types of conditions, over 18 of them. It might seem complicated, but I'm going to make it easy for you. So there is the inventory related one, inventory age, also for excess fees, estimated fees, if this is over 365 days. Then that's the first type, inventory base. Then we have the ones based on sales and quantity. And then we have the ones that are based on prices and buy box. So there's basically 3 different groups within all of these conditions that you can set. So in our case, we could select available quantity, back to the Lego Captain America example. And let's say for my available quantity, I have actually less than maybe 3 left. So typically, let's say I sell about 20 a month, so I do about 5 a week. So I know that I only have 3 left. And then that's the first main condition that you want to add. And then you want to add a sub condition, because it's not only about how many available quantity, it's also how fast your sales is, how fast your velocity is. And then so then I add the condition here, and then I pick when units sold the last 7 days is greater than 5. Okay, so in this case, I know that my product is going to sell out. So I probably need to contact my supplier. I might go out and buy products. And typically, when in the past, a lot of the large sellers, like if a product is selling well, what do you think they do? Like in your situation, if a product is selling like hotcakes,
they go out and get more.
Exactly, right? They go out and get more. Okay, so typically they go out and get more, and then they just leave it. They just leave the rule as it is because it's already being very profitable for them, and they don't have time to go and change that. Right? It's too minor. Yeah, it's not. But what they can do now is there's several different options. You could actually go by your price. So your price is the price you've listed on Amazon, and you could go by the buy box. You can add like let's say this was like $20. I add like $2 to it. So I could do it I could add a specific amount. I could also choose a more profit-driven rule. I can move it to the profit maximizer. So this is going to slow down my sales while I go replenish the product. And then in here, when none of the above conditions are met, again, I can put it to my original rule, maybe the AI equalizer. Yeah, and then so this way, the product, once I replenish it, then it's going to go back to my original rule. So I can maximize, every single dollar, that I can make from this product. Yeah. So these are 2 real life situations. There's so many more that I couldn't get into today because of the time. And you could definitely go to our channel, go to Bqool's channel to find out more details, to find out how you set this up, or you could just ask the questions, and we can ask the questions And we have something very, very special at the very end. So stay till the very end.
Awesome. Awesome. So I see a bunch of questions coming in. Some people are asking, I just got a private message from a friend asking, I'm selling books. Is this a good repricer for someone who's selling books, who's small? They're selling around $2,500 per month. They have a couple hundred items in their inventory. Their profit's a little less than 1,000. Is this something that would be a good fit for them?
There are several large booksellers. You can check out our video. We did one with the Money Badger. He's a bookseller as well. There's also other booksellers, Seth. They're all using our Bqool Repricer. And then what they like about the Bqool Repricer, we have a algorithm designed for used books. So how it works is this. If you're using rule-based and you're selling used books, it would actually, it will get you into the top 20 if you have the min price low enough. But then it just stays there. So if you're in position, and if you're a bookseller, you know what I'm talking about. Or I could go into more detail and you can also contact our support. But basically, for our AI, it's going to continue to try to get you. It's going to get you into the top 20 if your min price is within the top 20, and then it's going to try to get you the buy box. So the difference is going to try to get you the buy box after it gets you to the top 20. So this is definitely a good option for people who's selling books. But it does depend on how many SKUs you have. If it's taking you a lot of time, then it might be a good option for you. And then we would say if you have more than 100 listings. It also depends on the type of books you're selling. Are you selling textbooks? Are you selling different type of books? It's really depending on the type of books that you sell. And then so this is really important, right? Like how would a repricer work really well if you're a bookseller? Let's say I am a seller of used textbooks. I was able to get ungated for that. And then I know that, there's a price difference. So I got the book maybe in April, May, and then, got it for cheap. And then now I'm selling it in before school season, maybe in August and September. I can set up the repricer to reprice a certain way after a certain amount of days. Yeah, so definitely it is very useful if you're a bookseller.
Awesome. Awesome. Big shout out to Bobby Luz asking, how is Bqool different than other repricers? I know we've touched on it a little bit, but I want to throw you this one.
Okay, that's a great question. And one, I'll just cut to the chase, right? We're very affordable. Yeah, we start at $25 and we give you AI at $50. The nearest competitor will give you the AI at 10 times the price. Yeah, so you're getting, we're disrupting this industry. Yeah. Second, we've been in the business for more than 10 years. We have in-house engineers. We're in this for a long term. This is our bread and butter. We swim in repricing. Yeah. So we're also in the Amazon Development Council. So you could be very sure that we are updating the SP API that is coming up. So other repricers might not work, but ours do because we are in the Development Council. We're able to get all the updates before other people are. And a third, we have customers, right? Like look at Steve. Like he has the results, right? Results driven. Yeah. So and we also listen. We also listen to our sellers. That we can make adjustments. We continue to make improvement. We started out with rule based, then we moved to AI. And now we're at conditional repricing. And we have an amazing roadmap full of features that we're going to grandfather into all the people who use Bqool, before we increase the prices for some of them. Because, to be very honest, we're extremely affordable. Yeah.
And I would say right now for everyone watching, don't believe a word we're saying. Just go through the free trial and test it out. Because, for myself, it's kind of cool because when you use Bqool, the last repricer I used didn't have this, but literally I log in, I can look at my dashboard, it updates every single day, and I can see what the repricer is actually making for sale. So every single day it updates. A couple days ago, it was like 4,000. Now today it was 6,000. I'll probably look at it tomorrow and it'll be 6,500 or 7,000. And it'll also share with you when and how often it's repricing. You can see the history. You can actually see what it's doing. So it's really exciting. It's interesting. Just try it out.
Yeah, definitely try it out. And then there's a very special promo. Yeah, if you're part of this, the Riken Profit community, Yeah. So, definitely take advantage of that because, like you get 30 days. You basically get 30 days free trial, which is worth $100. We also have different pricing tier available. And there's also, we'll invite you to our exclusive onboarding webinar. So you're able to actually have a step-by-step walkthrough. So if today what I went through was very quickly, we have a onboarding webinar that's available for you as well. And make sure to use also our live support. We have live chat support through your entire workday. Yeah, so you can actually chat with, it's actually very expensive to do this, but we have live chat support because of our scale. And then we also have a very easy to use support site, as well as learn more videos, and also a YouTube channel full of tips and tricks of how to get more sales, how to get more profits for your Amazon business.
I just hope that people go out and take action on this because it works. And I would just say this, try it out for 30 days. You don't even have to put in your credit card. The funny thing is I didn't put in my credit card, and on day 15, it just turned off. And I was like, why didn't it charge me? And I'm like, oh, I never put my credit card in, but I was like, it made me money. So just go out, don't take our word, go give it a shot. For anybody who gets hung up with anything, you can hit up their customer support. I hit them up like 4 times because I had a few things that I was trying to work out. And I love the live chat feature, but you guys are also welcome to send me a DM on Instagram at Rake and Profit. Just send me a message with a question. I'll send you back an audio message, or if you're curious about any of my settings or anything, hit me up. But Samuel, I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully everybody, jumps on board with this and gives it a shot. And again, don't take our word, try it out, see if it makes you money. If it does, continue. If it doesn't, then just keep doing your thing.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on the show, Steve. And for all our audience, appreciate you staying till the very end. Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right, appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you soon, and thanks for coming on, Samuel. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.